First World War was a blessing to Southern textile mills. Increased need for supplies for the armed forces boosted the nation's economy. Many men had to leave their mill jobs to join the army, so many job opportunities opened up. The demand for mill workers was so great that mill owners were willing to drive up wages, offer bonuses, and shorten work weeks in order to persuade people to work for their mill over another. For the first time, the mill workers held more power than the owners. Owners were bending to the will of their employees just to keep productivity up. The standard of living was raised for the average man because of his expanding paycheck.
Dateline, November 11th, 1918. It's the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And we have just received word that there has been an armistice between the Germans and the Allies.
After peace was made on the Western Front by the Armistice Treaty, the demand for supplies slowed and textile mills were left in the red due to canceled orders. President Woodrow Wilson stepped into the crashing workforce so that it could continue to produce for the war effort by establishing the National War Labor Board in 1918. The board gave workers the right to organize, met the request for the 8-hour workday, and endorsed higher wages for employees. The patriotic propaganda that Wilson rallied encouraged farmers and workers to continue producing a surplus to aid the war. Employees were hungry for the presence of the American ideas of justice, equality, and political liberty that were buzzing all over the media in their own working lives. The American Federation of Labor, or AFL, took advantage of this by supporting democracy in the mills. AFL membership grew to over 5 million by their aggressive campaigning tactics, as did the United Textile Workers Union. Women and young men of less skill than the skilled male workers that were the main constituents of both groups were included in their massive efforts for fair pay and hours. Labor unions began gaining popularity and power in the southern Piedmont mills after an episode at Swift Spinning Mills in Columbus, Georgia. After members of the United Textile Workers of America were fired from the mill, the other mill workers were outraged and went on strike. The Labor Board took charge of the situation by forcing the company to rehire the employees they released because of their union affiliation. The world of textile industry was changing, with progressive mill men leaders supporting innovation in everything from advertisement to machine technology. Previous to the mid-1920s, it was neither necessary nor profitable to pursue more modern production techniques. However, capitalist competition between mills, combined with the huge surplus of farm families and agricultural depression seeking work in the mills, made it both imperative and possible for owners to strive for heightening efficiency.
See, the thing is, all these farmers come in here looking for work because of that agricultural depression. The thing is, I ain't got no jobs to offer. Heck, nobody got no work.
There's this joke we used to tell around the office. The joke was, the man comes in asking for work, and I say, sorry fella, I ain't got no work, not unless somebody dies. He's walking away, man falls out the window, dies. Guy comes running back in my office and says, how about that guy, can I have his job?
Hey, can I have that job?
No. Said the man who pushed him out the window gets his job. That's a joke we used to tell. Really, it was rough.
In Charlotte, North Carolina, union workers who realized that they no longer had leverage over their employers attempted to counteract the surplus of workers contributing to this loss and threaten their job and wage security. Union members traveled to the farmland and spoke to anyone who could potentially move to the mill towns looking for work, telling them that conditions at the mills were terrible and no better than that on the farm. Their attempts merited little success.
There's a farm in here.
Yeah. There are just no jobs in the city.
I don't know why.
Oh? All right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking.
Bye-bye.
We gotta go. I don't know what the hell they talking about.
We didn't have to work as hard on the old spoolers as we did on the Barber Coleman spoolers because it just didn't require it. Sometimes I would get all my ends put up and I could rest 2-3 minutes.
I could get me a drink of water.
Mill owners continued to push for greater profits by running shops 24 hours a day, curtailing heat and water expenses, and keeping employees from wasting time socializing. Job positions were combined, so many working families lost positions. Although they were able to cut costs, the best way to cut costs was by machine modernization, which took off in 1924. Machinery in the mills decreased the need for skilled laborers and increased the amount of work for workers currently employed.
Spoolers speeded up, and you had to work pretty fast. 2 spoolers done with 36 spoolers done on the old one. You'd be tired to death.
As mill worker positions were being eliminated, the new efficiency expert job was created. These college-educated men entered the mills and pointed out leaks to mill owners. These often led to firings. Along with the firings came recommendations for modern machinery equipped with meters to give superintendents the ability to see all worker productivity at one time. The Veeder-Root pick counter was called the ultimate eye and the shop floor watchdog in the mills because of its thorough sweeping of employee work. Needless to say, these men were the most hated in the industry.
Baby, well, I'm in love, what can I say, with Jenny and the summer day, baby, baby, baby.
I had 200 machines. I had 2 or 3 acres of them, but I don't know if they're all working because I couldn't even see them all.
The conditions in mills grew to be so unbearable that workers once again began to rebel against employers. Across the southern Piedmont mills, strikes broke out as workers demanded humane treatment and an end to the hard rules of long hours, low pay, no coworker interaction, and no breaks that owners enforced. The General Textile Strike of 1934 grew to be so large that police and even the armed forces had to try to control picketers. Although the strike ended, it without a doubt created a constant tension between employees and employers.
There's lovers and in this town, lovers cannot let down. The summer